Hello learners, Namaskar, I am Pragya and I am here to welcome you in your YouTube channel English Seeker. From today I am going to start a series of the chapters which are included in class 10th NCERT. Firstly, I have chosen the book First Flight, and in it I decided to tell you the first chapter's summary, and the chapter's title is A Letter to God. So the very first I will tell you about the author, and then we will discuss about the summary, and the discussion will be completely in English. If you want the summary or the explanation in Hindi, so you can write in comment section. Definitely I will provide you its summary in Hindi too. So let's start. The very first we will discuss about the author. So the author of this chapter is J.L. Fuentes, whose full name is Gregorio Lopez Fuentes, who was born in 1897 and died in 1935. He was a poet, novelist and journalist born in Mexico. He has written extensively about the Mexican Revolution. He taught literature at a school in Mexico City and also wrote F.R. El Universal, a Mexican newspaper in Spanish. He has written many books and was awarded the National Prize of Arts and Sciences by the government of Mexico in the same year in which year he died, in the year 1935. Now it's turn for the summary. So let's see the summary of the chapter, and for this we have to go on the text. Now we are on the text. Okay, let's see. So this is a story about a person whose name is Lancho. Lancho is the hero of this story. Lancho, a hard-working farmer, lived in a lone house on the top of a hill in a valley. He lived with his wife and children. He grew corn, and from his house one could see the river below as well as his farm dotted with lovely flowers. After a dry spell, he was eagerly waiting for the arrival of rains which would finally give him a good harvest. So just as Lancho had wished for, it soon began raining that day and everyone was happy. However, their happiness did not last long, for heavy winds swept away the rains and brought with them a hailstorm which lasted an hour. By the time it ended, Lancho's crops were completely destroyed and everything was covered in a layer of white hailstones. Not even a leaf remained on the trees. So Lancho was completely devastated and decided to write a letter to God, asking him to send 100 pesos so that he and his family do not starve. With a troubled mind, yet with his faith fixed firmly in God, he writes the letter addressed to God. He asks God for help in the form of 100 pesos, narrating his difficulty, and posts the letter. The postman, who finds the letter, finds it very funny and shares it with the rest of the post office employees. So the postmaster reads the letter and is surprised by Lancho's faith. He wished that he had such faith himself and decided to help out the poor farmer by collecting whatever he could from his colleagues and by contributing to the good cause himself as well. Then what happened? They manages to collect 70 pesos for Lancho. However, the postmaster doesn't want Lancho to know that they have done it. So they decided to give the money to Lancho, posing as God. So it's time for the irony, and this is the irony of a situation. So what was the irony in it? Let's see. When Lancho receives the letter from God, he is not surprised in the least. And why was not he surprised? Just because he was firm faith that definitely God will help him, just because no one can. So it was decided that God will help him. So he was not surprised. But when he finds 70 pesos inside the envelope instead of the 100 pesos, so that he had asked for, so Lancho smells trouble. And in which manner he smells trouble? He thought that the post office employees or bunch of crooks, and they have robbed the money, they have stolen the money. So for Lancho had faith in God, and he knew for sure that God would not make a mistake and send him a single peso less than what he had asked for. So the culprit had to be in the post office. So he immediately writes another letter to God asking him to send the remaining 30 pesos as well. However, God was not to send it through the post office. He also requested God not to send the remaining 30 pesos through post office, for according to Lancho, they were a bunch of crooks who robbed him of his 30 pesos. So it was the irony. There are some questions given here. In the next video, I will try to tell you the key points and the summary in a nutshell. I mean, very briefly, only in 2 or 3 lines. And the and Lencho's character sketch, postmaster's character sketch, these all things I will provide you. And if you want the summary in Hindi, so you also can write in comment box, then I will provide the summary in Hindi. Thank you.